remember the Jubilee debate recently that had Jordan Peterson on with 20-something atheists, and one of those atheists happened to be Danny, the little dweeb that said that Jordan Peterson is nothing, and then Jordan Peterson reacted and said, I'm done with you. See you later. There was also another one named Parker. Both of them, I believe, I think Danny claims to be bisexual. We'll get to that in another video another time. And Parker is actually, I think, gay. Again, we'll get to those things another time, but both of them were so disrespectful to Jordan Peterson. I mean, whatever happened to respect your elders, first and foremost? And then also, you think that you're smarter than literally a man that has an IQ of like 180 or something. You're not going to get there, mate. Like, so stop even trying. These two, Danny and Parker from Jubilee, they're also invited back on Jubilee to talk about their confrontation with Jordan Peterson. So these two people have been given an even greater platform because they were very disrespectful to Jordan. So in other words, these two people are being rewarded for their bad behavior, including the likes of, you guessed it, ladies and gentlemen, Piers Morgan rewarding these two dingbats. And, well, Piers Morgan, as he does in Piers Morgan style, decided to have a debate with Andrew Wilson and Jay Dyer. Now, if you don't know who Andrew Wilson is, you should probably get well acquainted with some of his work and his talking points. Sometimes he can be good. Other times he just talks over people and makes funny voices and is not exactly the best kind of debater out there. But nevertheless, he also claims to be a Christian. Jay Dyer, I don't know who he is, but he claims to be a Christian as well. Now, they had their take on the whole issue. When you've got someone that is really afraid to call himself a Christian on a massive platform, then that worries me first and foremost, because if you don't stand for anything, you don't stand for anything, right? So you've got to stand for something at least. And Jordan Peterson, while he is able to articulate the Bible very, very well, it's the fact that he doesn't believe in the death, burial, resurrection of Jesus Christ. I don't know. He hasn't said that he does, but he also argues quite considerably what belief actually means. If you're trying to go into like this fancy definition of what belief is, it just makes me wonder whether or not you really do believe in Jesus. But anyway, have a watch of Andrew Wilson and Jay Dyer talk to Danny and Parker from Jubilee about whether or not Jordan Peterson is in fact a Christian. Have a watch.
Like people have been wanting this guy to take the position on whether he's a Christian or not a Christian forever, on the right, the left, center, basically across the board. Now, I'll always be in some ways grateful to Jordan Peterson. He was one of the first who kind of started the trend of standing up to the pronouns people, which was pretty epic to watch. But, ultimately, he's kind of a shell of his former self. He didn't look great going through that debate. He looked kind of run down. I think that him being on with the Daily Wire probably hasn't been great for him. He's not he doesn't have the kind of edge that he used to have. But ultimately, I mean, I was actually kind of glad to see it. It's about time we know, are you or aren't you? Get off the shit or get off the pot, essentially, right? Are you a Christian or aren't you a Christian? That's a fair question.
And Jay, I mean, ultimately, these two young men on the panel today, they're sworn atheists. You obviously are not. So if you were actually conducting a debate about their atheism against your Christianity, how would you take them on, given what happened to Jordan?
Well, it depends on what you mean, Pierce. Depends on what you mean. How would I take them on? Well, I think there's a lot of different ways that you could critique an atheist position. Most of the time, I argue from the three branches of philosophy: epistemology, metaphysics, and ethics. Those are just the three branches of any worldview, and everybody has a worldview, whether they know it consciously or not. So I would critique the foundations of the atheist materialist worldview to see if it's rational, if it's coherent, if it can provide a justification for knowledge or ethical oughts. So I think that would have been a much better route. In fact, Peterson used to kind of take that approach when he debated Sam Harris. He would call out the is-ought problem with Sam Harris. When he debated Matt Dillahunty, he would call out the exact same types of preconditions for a worldview issue that I used to do, or I usually do. So I think that'd be a better route than just sort of having this ambiguous, Jungian position of non-committal, whatever it is.
So even the Christians want to know, and I think Jubilee, when they came out with the video, their initial title was One Christian versus 20 Atheists, and everyone was like, well, Jordan Peterson never states in the video that he is in fact the Christian. And when Danny and Parker both call him out and ask him, well, are you a Christian or are you not? And while I don't like the way that these two dingbats treated Jordan Peterson, they were right in some respects to ask him, are you a Christian? And if you can't answer if you're a Christian, then you're probably not a Christian. Because if you are a Christian, you're bold and you are able to proclaim his name. You are very much courageous in that respect. Like, you don't want to reject God, because that's the worst possible thing you can do, especially if you claim that you have accepted God as your Lord and Savior. Like, it is a massive thing to go, well, I don't know. I don't know that I'm a Christian, but yet you defend the Bible, you defend Christianity as a whole based around its morals and its principles and its values, things of that particular nature, but yet you yourself, you don't actually believe. So when it comes to atheists and the atheistic argument, trying to disprove whether or not God is real or Christians are real, that sort of thing, you're giving them plenty of ammunition, because you yourself don't even want to stand with the very thing you're trying to debate is a real thing. You yourself are too afraid to actually go, yes, I am a Christian. Here's why I'm a Christian. For whatever reason that is the case, it remains to be seen. And countless Christian commentators have been trying to figure it out for quite some time. Now, Andrew Wilson makes a point that he looked really disheveled and not himself in that debate. Well, I personally wouldn't be myself if I was in like a woke Jubilee studio, first and foremost. Why he agreed to do this, I don't know. I don't know why Jordan Peterson, of all people, agreed to do this stupid debate, because it was actually utterly pointless. You didn't really get anything out of it aside from making Jordan Peterson look like a fool. And to me, if you are like literally a very smart individual, you have an incredible legacy, you're just starting to tarnish it by going on these stupid things that are making you look bad. And I know that you did that to yourself because you didn't want to proclaim whether or not you're a Christian, which you probably should have, considering you've got all this knowledge about the Bible. You're so great at defending it, but yet you yourself can't actually come to terms with its reality, with belief, with faith. And as John Lennox quite simply, in fact, points it, it's not faith. It's not blind faith. It is blind. It's faith with evidence. John Lennox is a very smart man, and he's debated a number of atheists in the past, and he has stated a number of times, you can't not believe in nothing. It doesn't work like that. And they're trying to reject something that is so paramountly simple to understand. But I guess the logical brain goes, nah, I can't believe in something I can't see. But then John Lennox goes, there is plenty of evidence to prove that Jesus did die. He did rise again. And like if you believe in that, which is what the Bible talks about, then you will be saved. Simple as that. And I guess the other problem that a lot of atheists have is pride. You see these two young dingbats, Danny and Parker, they're extremely proud and arrogant young kids because they think, I've got all the knowledge in the world. Guess what? In light of eternity, all that knowledge is going to do you jack when you reach the judgment seat of Christ. Let's just point that out. And if you don't believe me, maybe you should do a little bit more research than listening to the likes of Richard Dawkins, for example, or some other atheists, because guaranteed when Christ comes back, you guys are going to get the shock of your life. All the stuff you're arguing and debating, you should have actually listened to someone that knows what they're talking about. Anyway, that's enough from me. You guys take care. Be blessed, and I'll see you all in the next video.